Welcome back, y'all. Okay, so today I'm thinking we're gonna try to put these numbers here for when you get eggs, and we'll see how that goes. I think the first thing I want to do is see the font is already as small as it can be, without any scaling going on. So I'm pretty sure whatever we have our small, because I remember when we were first printing up stuff, like let's see, where do we print score here? Do we print our score in our, yeah, where do we print score? Here. No, self.lives. Where do we print our score? The update function, sure. But do we do it here? Yo, where do we print our freaking score? Play state. Here. We print it in our ostrich function, or our ostrich class, which I think is a little ridiculous. I'm gonna move it to our play state. And then see if there was a reason we had it in our ostrich class. Well, see how the score's not printing now? We are printing our score, and our score should be global because it's here, so we should be able to do it. So maybe it's just getting overwritten by some stuff. So what if we just draw it here at the end? And then if this doesn't work, we're gonna have to move it back to our... Okay, well that works. Okay, so we've got that in our... We've got that in our play state now, which is good. That's where it should have been. But if you look at here, we're printing a small font, and our small font is 8 pixels. So look, we do have a smaller font that's two points smaller than our small font. So I'm curious if in our play state we write, or we just print out, I just want to see what the numbers are going to look like and if they're too fuzzy for what we're trying to do. So love.graphics.print, and we're going to print out. First thing we want to do is actually set our font to smaller font. So love.graphics.set font to our smaller font, and then print 500 at like the middle of the screen, but I don't know exactly what that is. Just trying to print it somewhere, you know, so I can see it. I think if I put this in quotes like this, it'll know it's a string, but I don't exactly know. Okay, yeah, see how blurry it looks? you see how this 500, well, yeah. God, it looks so bad. Like, maybe if... I feel like if you shrink it, it only gets worse, right? Because it has to interpolate the pixels. Oh, yuck. Yeah, you can't even read that. So it's like, we either need a different font for small numbers. Yeah, the font we have just is not cutting it. Yeah, it's just you can't read shit. And then if we have it set the same size as our smaller font, that's just too big compared to the original. So we might need to look for a small number font. I don't know what to even call that, but it needs to. The numbers need to look good when they're only, 6 pixels taller or something like that. So I'm gonna Google a small number font and see if we can find something. Tickerbit Retro Pixel. This is not what I want to be clicking on. Pixel typefaces. See, this one might have good numbers, because look at this. That's 5 pixels tall. So if this whole font is about 5 pixels tall, 5 pixels wide, I think that's perfect for our numbers. So if we have... Helvetica's not bad either. Looks taller though, looks like 8 pixels tall. So I want to say this visitor font is what we want. Do they have numbers? Yeah. Yeah, that looks good to me. It doesn't exactly look like the original, but, we're not about to make a font for this game, Let me, oops. Yeah, visitor 1, visitor 2, what's the difference? I'm not trying to install this font, I'm just trying to give us this font to work with in our Get Joust fonts folder. So we've also got, I'm going to rename this to be visitor.ttf, and then we're going to say, in our main, we give ourselves a new font. Instead of visitor.ttf, I'm going to see if 8 works, and then we'll shrink it and see if it looks awful or not. Fuck. 8 is actually blurry. So part of me wants to see if there's like a sweet spot, because it's like, depending how the game, shit, it's awful. Depending how the game scales it, it could, if it's 1 pixel off, it could be interpolating wrong. Okay, so that looks pretty good actually. So see how 10 looks like that, but 9 looks like that, which is awful. So since 10 looks so crisp, I wonder if 5 is just a sweet spot for this one. No. Yeah, that looks like 100. So 10 it is. Even though 10 is bigger than our arcade font, it still looks smaller. So I think that's perfect. I think it's perfect. I mean, it's not exactly the same like the original, but the only other idea I have is to make the pixel art for these numbers, which is just not that I don't want to do it or that I can't do it. It's just that it's like seems like a waste of time. So we're just going to go with this. Our smaller font is now not arcade font, it's visitor font. At which point in our play state, instead of doing this here, we would need to see, and how do we do this? We need to give ourselves... So here's the real tricky thing about this is right now when we collide with an egg, we don't destroy it because it would shift our indexes in our tables, right? So we don't destroy it, we actually move it to the graveyard, which is the top left of the screen outside of the screen. But that doesn't leave us room to print a number with the same information. So it's like we need... And we potentially need more than one score on the screen at the same time. So do we do a class? I think we do a class of score that gets instantiated upon a collision. And upon the collision, it inherits, you know, a couple parameters like the last X and the last Y. Do we need a class for that? I don't think we do actually, because we might, I think we do need some sort of a class because we need to keep track of how long the score is on the screen, and it only needs to be on the screen for, you know, 2 seconds. So it needs an X and a Y and a time on screen, and there needs to be more than one at a time potentially. So that's what's kind of cueing me to say that we need a class for it. So I guess let's go ahead and give us a class called score print score. Yeah, maybe print score, just to be verbose, because if we just do score, it's like, oh, it's controlling our score, but it's not. It's just showing us what the score of an egg was after you pick it up. So maybe just, yeah, show score or print score. So here in our source, this is where our classes are. So I'm going to give us a new file. And it's called PrintScore.lua, and then if I file save this in our source, then we can do the actual, you know, we say print score gets class curly braces. So it inherits the class attributes, and then we can actually do the function to our print score init. And then we would need an update function that gets delta time. And we also need the render function. Oh wow, I just did that for me. And I know it's working because it's showing us these in orange, so that's telling me that it's at least trying to pick it up right. If we look, I'm going to make sure that we inherit class with curly braces just to make sure I got that right. Yeah, ostrich gets class curly braces just like our PrintScore gets class curly braces. We have an init, an update, render. Now the thing is, we need last x, last y, and then we need, you know, timer, like self dot timer gets 3 seconds or whatever it is, and then our self dot last x will get our parameter, or you know, once it's passed in, it'll become the argument last x, and then last y needs the same. So this is just like, since we lose our x and y, once we move our egg to the graveyard, we need to pass in the x and y upon the collision, save them into this PrintScore instantiation, and then that PrintScore instantiation will last until the timer runs out, you know. But then we would also, yeah, we would need to delete this stuff too, because we would need to delete this instantiation upon it being expired and not printing anymore. I'm not exactly sure how to do that though. The only way I know how to do it is to do table.remove or reinstantiate a PrintScore with the same exact name, but we don't want to do that because we don't want to overwrite any other scores. Because you could collect 2 eggs at a time, and you want the appropriate values for each one. So what do we do here? I know we need to give our self.timer itself minus delta time in the update function, and then if our self.timer is equal to 0, and we'll do this where we say if self.timer is smaller than 0, then self.timer gets 0. So this will have the effect of turning 0 after the timer, so like we don't keep decrementing negatively, and then will be equal to 0, so that if self-timer is 0, then we no longer render, but if self-timer is greater than 0, we need to love.graphics.print the appropriate score tier. So maybe we need another parameter of how much, what type of egg you just collected. Well, it's more complicated than that, because you need, is it a bounder egg? Is it a shadow lord egg? Is it a hunter egg? But then also, was that egg in the air? Those are 6 different points. So I think we need a parameter of the exact points we're going to get, so that we know exactly what to print. We want to print the appropriate amount of points for sure, but we need to do a couple more things here. We need to say love.graphics.set and we're going to set that font to our smaller font. And then we need to love.graphics set our color, and our color is going to be pure white, which is a whole host of 255s. And then we're going to love.graphics.print this parameter, right? But converted to a string. So the parameter that we need, which is score amount, I don't know. score amount we get passed in depending on what type of egg it was and if it was in the air, and then we assign our score amount to our score amount field within our instantiation, and we say that now we can print a score amount converted to a string at its last x and its last y. And we only do this if self-timer is greater than 0. So for the first 3 seconds, it should print it at its last x and y, and then it should do nothing, shouldn't print it. I don't like this design for a couple reasons. That, like, we initialize the 3, and then every single frame we take this self.timer and decrement it. And then if it's smaller than 0, if it's negative, we set it back to 0. So at 60 times a second, once we get past 0, it'll say 0 gets 0 minus delta time, and then it'll be smaller than 0, so we'll set self-timer back to 0 every single frame, which I don't like. I want to figure out how to do it differently than that. So maybe we say we only decrement self-timer if self-timer is positive, and then we say if self.timer is greater than 0, meaning it's positive, then we want to decrement our timer. But if it's greater than 0, so once it becomes smaller than 0, once it's smaller than 0, we set it to 0, at which point we won't decrement because it's 0 is not greater than 0. And it won't render. So I think that solves our problem. So now we need to just try to say, we're printing out the score amount. So we need to make sure we pass in a third argument as a score amount, and we pass in the last x and y upon a layer or an ostrich and a egg collision. So if we go in our ostrich class and we look for our egg collisions, which enemy collisions, we need egg collisions. Where do we do our egg collisions? Okay, egg. Egg. Do it in play state? Yeah. Okay, we do it in play state. So we check. Well, no, that's what we're rendering. Here. So look, we cycle through all the vultures and see if our player collides with that vulture's egg. If the vulture's egg's not invulnerable, because there's a timer. Okay. Now, see, it's like, oh shit, what do we have here? Okay, so here, okay. See, this is getting way more complicated because I've got in hard-coded scores so that the first score is 250, second score is 500, third score is 750, which is fine for wave 1, but not true for the other waves. So I'm not gonna dive into fixing that right now, but we need to figure something out for that. If it's wave 1, it's this, but if it's wave 2, it starts at 500, I think, and if it's wave 3, I think they start at 750. I don't exactly know, but that changes. That changes. You know what? Yeah, because it's not shit. I don't know if the score. I think the score is. incrementing like that, like 500 for the first egg, or 250 for the first egg, 500 for the second, 750 for the third. But I feel like I'm missing something. Like I feel like if it's a, you know, we need to see what kind of tier villain it is, because if it's a hunter, you know, it's 500. I think the game always starts out with, okay, I think the game always starts out with all bounders, and if you collect all the eggs of all the bounders once you've collided with them, none of them turn into hunters, and you don't have to deal with hunters or shadow lords. So I won't plan too much into this just yet, but I want to see where we do. You know, if player collides with egg, then if we're moving, see, where do we do this? So if we're going faster than 0.3, we move our egg to the... What the hell am I doing here, guys? I'm saying if the absolute value of our dx is smaller than 3, meaning we're walking smaller than a 0.3 dx, which is like a speed tier 1 to 2 zone range. We're walking slow, then we have a specific condition that we're checking to make sure that we're okay. Yeah, because in the original you can kind of stand on top of the egg without collecting it if you walk slow enough. But if you're going fast enough, the second it's detected, you get the points. So I don't like this design, but it's what I came up with to emulate the original, so I don't know what else to do. Long story short, we don't want the egg... See, look, we don't want the egg X, we want the vulture's last DX, which or last X and last Y, which I think we... Oh my god, it's so hard. It's so hard to look at all the code these days. Like, where do we do the egg instantiation? Our class is called egg. So if we look at, come on, we look at our egg. Whenever we use this instantiation, we do it here initially to set it in the dead zone. We do it here if... What the fuck? So yeah, if we're exploding and our egg spawn is true... What the fuck is happening here? Why do we have to be grounded for this? But basically, the long story of it is we're spawning our egg based on the last Y and last X of our vulture, because we're in our vulture class and this is self. So if we compare the vulture, or we pass in the vulture.last X as our first parameter for our PrintScore instantiation, we should be able to do it. So if we look in our play state and we look here, we need to, this is where we need to do it. You know, like this is an egg collision if we're going smaller than 0.3 dx. So we need to say that we instantiate, see, how do we do this without overriding it potentially? I think we need a table of scores. We need a table of scores. Fuck. See, this is the same problem. Because I don't want to delete. We need a table of scores because we need to store multiple scores, right? Because there could be multiple scores at the same time. So we need to store those somehow. But as we store those, we maybe need to delete them, but if we don't delete them, they clog up all the memory and then, you know, it could crash or whatever. So what if we just, try, for right now, we try to give ourselves one instantiation. I'm going to say only score gets a PrintScore instantiation. We need to import this, by the way. In our dependencies, we need to require our class of PrintScore. We don't have to do a .lua because Lua is smart like that. And then we can say PrintScore, and where we're printing it is going to be our vultures.lastx and our vultures.lastY, and the point we're going to be giving it is just 250 for right now. We also need to give ourselves a variable called only score, so the interpreter knows what's going on. Oopsie. Okay, only score. We need to give ourselves. We do a self-only score, and we say self.only score. The only score is just temporary. I just want to see if I can print out a 500 when I collect an egg, and it's not working. We are printing out this one. No, we're printing out this, which is incorrect. But the thing is, we're not updating or rendering our print score at the moment. I'm going to just delete this, actually. If we go into our play state, we need to update our, there's our render. So we need to update our only score. No, we need to update our, no, yeah, we can't do that. Since only score is an instantiation of a class, we can say update it. And then you update your only score, and then you render your only score. And we don't need to say which font here because that is covered in our render function in our class. So I just need to say render like that. And we turned off the 500, so that should no longer be there. Only score is a nil because it's a self.only score. It's not a self.only score. It's a player1.only score. Let's save with this. This is ugly. I just want to see if this works, though. 198 in our play state. Really? Thought. Oh, only score. Wait. Only score is in our play state, so it's not a player one. It's a self. And then we should be good to go. Only score 198. I don't like that. we give ourselves only score here, right? We update it, which would run all of the logic for our print score, which is just yeah, okay. Yeah, we need to I want to say something's going wrong because in our update function we decrement our timer anyway. It's like we only need to update our print score if we have a score available, which makes me think we need to do the table thing, because it's not liking the fact that at 198, this self.only score, a number value, attempt to index field only score, which is a number value. So yeah, it's not that. Where do we see? It shouldn't be a number value, it should be a table value, because we're giving it an instantiation which has these 4 things in it. So I'm a little confused why it won't let me do that. X, Y, score amount, yeah. And a self timer. So self.only score gets assigned here, an instantiation of our PrintScore class, and then our only score update fails because it's a number value. But it should be a table value. So you know what? It is okay, this is the same deal. You know, we need to give ourselves not a number value upon instantiation, because we were never detecting the collision, so it was actually just a number value. So we need to just give this, I don't know, man. This is disgusting. I hate how gross all of these are, but it's like we're giving ourselves busted values, right? So that it knows this is an only score. It knows only score is an instantiation of this object, but we don't want to do anything with that object. So we're just giving it null values. But that'll at least allow us to run it. See how it says nil up there? Great. That's right off screen. I didn't see it print. Really? I got 2 eggs like right on the edge there. Still need to add side collision to our eggs. Still need to add hatching to our eggs. And our print is not working. We are rendering our only score, which should run this font. Part of me wants to just turn that off and see what it says. It says nil. See, that nil shouldn't be in the top left once I've collided with something. Oh no. How did that happen? That guy owned me. I deserved what I got. Yeah, this is just not working. shoot. What worries me is like I've got, I'm spending the night at Andy's the next couple nights, so I won't be able to program the next couple days. And I don't want to leave it on this crappy of a commit, but I don't know what to do at the moment. I don't exactly know what to do at the moment. We don't seem to be rendering the only score, but let me see what our only score. You know what? Yeah, you know what? We need to do it. We need to do it not if we're just moving slow, we need to do it if we're moving fast. So I'll add it here to get populated if we're moving fast, which now maybe it'll print up. I'm just trying to get 500 to print up on collecting an egg. Fuck. Prints nil. That was cool, the egg fell off like that. No. Shit, man. It's weird that it's printing it up in the top left like that. It is really weird. Fuck, man. It's been 40 minutes. Why does it print out in the top left like that? Is it because of this one, where we instantiate it -10, 10? We do this -20, 20? Will it do anything different? Because it should be given the last... No, it isn't. Why does it do that? Why does it print... Well, you know what? Does it print nil for 3 seconds? So collected 1, 2, 3, gone. Okay. So it does print for 3 seconds. It just prints a non-zero value or a nil value at the wrong spot. That at least gives us some info. If we look at our print score, it takes a score mount and it prints it at a last X and a last Y. So what if... I just don't get why it's so busted. Because this should be our... Where's our egg collisions? Here. Our vultures. Yeah, this is... It's this one that's messing it up, I think. Our vulture last X. What do we do with our last X and our last Y? Okay. So if we're not exploded, we update our last X. Okay, so yeah, last X just gets the last X position until it's exploded. And then, why does it matter if we're grounded? What the heck? Or if the vulture's grounded, then why do I have this different? I'm confused why this is... So look, if our vulture's exploded, we set our explosion timer. If our egg spawn is true, then if we're grounded, we give ourselves an egg instantiation at this point. It's very similar to this. The only difference is 2 pixels on our Y to the right. So why would, if we're in the air, as a vulture, be drawing an egg differently than if we're grounded? Yeah, I don't know why we would be doing that. So why don't we just do that? Or, no, it's almost like, don't even want that. Does that change anything with our Nil. No. Nil. It shouldn't be nil. It shouldn't be nil. It should not be nil. It should not be nil because we give it a not nil. We're only printing in our print score. We're printing score. Oh. 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 Okay, well. Really? Okay. Come on, 500. Okay, oh, 250. So the last X and Y isn't quite working. We're hard-coded at 250. I'm not too worried about that just yet. But we've got, we've got score printing somewhere at least. For whatever reason, the last X of our... Oh, dude, what the heck? What is happening there? How do we do that? How do we get stuck up there? Damn, that was a big bounce. So 250, and then it disappears. But it's in the wrong spot. But, motherfucker, I really did. We are passing in the... We need to pass in the self.lastx. Boom! Way off. But it's getting close? Closer? Oh, yeah, not the vulture's last X, the egg's last X. Does our egg have a last X? See, so this is interesting because we actually need a egg last X, egg last Y. So I'm gonna give ourselves a last X and Y integer, set it at 0, and then in our egg update function, if our egg's not exploded, well, we don't really have an egg exploded. Fuck. Because we can't just print it, we can't just print the score at the eggs X and Y because we move it to the graveyard upon collision, which throws that off. So we need to do it to the eggs last X. So yeah, why don't we just say that our self but we need to trigger, we need to say, we need to have an egg collected as well, and we're initializing our collected field in our egg class to be false, and then that way we can say, if not self-collected, then we need to update our last X position and our last Y position appropriately. So we need to say our self.lastX gets our current X, and our self.lastY gets our current Y. And then we need to say that our self-collected gets false upon collision. And then we can draw not at the vulture's X last X, but the egg's last X. So if this is all true, then we need to say vulture.egg.collected gets true. And same thing with right here. Vulture.egg.collected Yeah, it's true. And then we need to not add vulture dot last x, but vulture dot egg dot last x. Vulture dot egg dot last x. Vulture dot egg dot last y. So let's see, when we grab this egg. Yes, 250 points, baby. For 3 seconds. Nice. 250 points, hell yeah. Fuck yeah. And it's right where the egg is, you know? Right where the egg's collected. Nice. And I caught it in the air there and it drew it a little higher. That's great. So we need to... we need to do a lot of stuff, to be honest. Right now, we have this thing called only score. And I say that because I didn't want to figure out how to get the exact score because we've got all these conditions. I don't know how to move forward exactly because we need to be able to draw multiple scores at the same time, which I think if we do it right now, it would just override it. Like if we have 2 eggs that are kind of close to one another. Here, I'm gonna wait till this guy's about the same. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get these eggs at the same time. Perfect. So look, let's see what happens when I run through this. Yeah. That's why we need something more than only score, because right now it's the only score. So we need a table of scores. Then it gets into like, when do we delete? When do we delete or remove the values from that score? I don't know. But we got it. We got it. I'm glad I didn't give up like 15 minutes ago or whatever that was. Because in 10 more minutes or 12 more minutes or whatever, we figured out at least getting the score on screen, which is nice. We take a look at our get diff real quick. We've got a new font. We've got a last x and or last y for our egg, an egg collected field. We update our egg's last x and y position. We took out our rendering of our score from our ostrich class. We took out this weird ass logic for this, which I still don't know why we did. Why would we need to have our egg be instantiated at a higher position or a lower position if we're grounded? No. Higher if we're grounded. Lower position if we're not grounded. You know what? I think I did that. I feel like I added that because when I would collide with a vulture in the air, the egg looked like it was the egg looked like it was spawning too high. So I guess I maybe should go back and fix it so that or go back and change it so that we keep the +4 instead of the +2. So that it at least looks good in the air, because I think that's the reason why I did it. We added a PrintScore class, we added a whole class. And then we do this crappy thing called only score just to give us a score at a vulture's egg's last x and y. See, so we need to get rid of, ultimately, this 250 parameter in our PrintScore class, which is our score amount or whatever. We need to do better than this. Like we need to, instead of hard coding it at 250, we need to just say whatever our score is, right? So it's like, I think, like an egg object needs a score an egg object needs a score field that gets updated to whatever the points is, and then that's the parameter we need to feed in. And then if it's in the air, it needs to be more points. If it's a hunter egg, it needs to be more points. So far, then we need a table of scores so that we can print multiple at the same time at their appropriate point levels. So, and then we need to not hard code the points for the sequential getting of the eggs. Right now it's 250 to 500 to 750, but it depends on the wave. It depends on the wave, and it depends on whether or not the vulture has hatched from an egg and is upgraded to a hunter or a shadow lord, but we don't have those just yet, so can't really do it yet. So maybe we do that next, you know, after we figure out the score. We moved our score into our play state, which is a good idea, and then we play state. Why does this have two scores here? We've got score. Okay, it doesn't. I don't know why it. Update, render here. Oh yeah, see, we're printing score here, and then we're printing score here. So if we take out this printing score here, let me just see if we take out this printing score here, if that fucks our score up or not. I don't think it will. I think we were just accidentally printing two scores. Come on, man. Let us run. Yep, we're printing a score. Let's see if we get the right. Yeah, okay. Sweet. So we cleaned that up a bit. So yeah, we've got to do a couple things, but we've got scores working, or, you know, scores on screen once we get the eggs, so I'm happy with that. We'll do a git add everything to the staging area with a commit saying added, what did we call it? PrintScore function, class, added PrintScore Class, and hard-coded one score to print from egg collision. And that'll give us a little clue when we come back in a couple days to program the rest of this, that we need to have more than one score coded in there. Or not hard-coded at all, we just need it to be right, so. Cool. So we get pushed it to our origin main. Ooh. Not bad. You know, 8 files changed, 56 insertions, 9 deletions. Good day. You know, it's just a little daunting, like I'm trying to not get overwhelmed because there's still so much shit to do. But it's coming along great, and no one can deny that this is pretty much Joust right now. I mean, you know, it's not perfect, but that's sick, man. I'm so proud of that. This is awesome. That's sick. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll catch you guys maybe Tuesday. Yeah, I think Tuesday. I'm getting home late at Tuesday, but I'll see you guys Tuesday. If I bring my laptop to Andy's and then code at night, well, see, then that's the thing. I don't have my OBS set up. So I might just bring a programming book and read through some stuff. Brush up on C a bit, maybe, so I can still program each day, study each day at least. And then we'll be back making Joust Tuesday. So I'll see you guys then. See ya.